motel in the country will be preparing to reopen this weekend.
It is, of course, Crossroads. The first episode is on Monday. A few of the faces will be familiar, but you won't recognise much else. The old motel is a four-star hotel now, as Nina Nana explains.
The theme tune is familiar, even some of the faces are familiar, but this is a new look Crossroads. The soap that was renowned for its wobbly sets and creaky storylines has gone upmarket. The no-star motel is now a four-star hotel. And whereas the old soap was not renowned for being glamorous and raunchy...
You're married, aren't you?
Don't worry about it. My wife understands me.
This one promises to be different. This is the show's new handyman, Bradley, taking the place of viewers' favourite Benny. In fact, of the original cast of 1964, only 3 people are making a return.
Oh, there's no comparison. First of all, we have a little injection of a thing called money. A lot of money has been put into the show, into the sets, into the company. We have a wonderful new young cast, and it is just terribly exciting that everybody cares about the show.
Ah, Mrs. Grayson.
The old Crossroads ran for more than 4,500 episodes and at its peak attracted 16 million viewers. From next week, the new £10 million soap will be screened twice daily at lunchtime, going head-to-head with Neighbours, and then repeated in the early evening.
I know some people have criticised them for bringing back something that was so dodgy from the bad old days, but at least they've got, you know, you're halfway there with the awareness. You know, people are going to look at it just for the novelty value, and they've made it modern and made it classy. I think, you know, they've done quite a good job.
For fans of the soap, though, it's been a long wait since it was dropped in 1988.
It is different, but I actually think if Meg was watching down, looking on it, she'd be probably quite pleased what they've done with her motel.
You can check out who's checking in from Monday. Nina Nana, ITN.
Crossroads Motel, but from next week it's open for business again.
Yes, the soap that was as well known for its wobbly sets as its storylines is back on our sets on Monday. Could be a big break for a sports journalist turned scriptwriter from Norwich who's penned one of the episodes. But what will the die-hard fans of the original series make of it? Claire Weller has been finding out.
Some say the original can't be replaced, but Peter Kingsman from Bures in Suffolk, who's been a Crossroads fan since he was a child, says he's looking forward to the new version. He has the country's biggest collection of memorabilia, and he's one of the chosen few who've had a sneak preview of the first episode.
I wasn't sure what I was going to think, but it's very gripping, and I think it's going to give the other soaps a run for their money. It's glamorous, it's very fast, and very different.
Its success rests with people like Rick Waghorn, a football writer with the Evening News in Norwich, who's been given his break into TV scriptwriting with the chance to write one of the new episodes.
Reporting on Norwich City for the last 8 years, some people might argue that's pretty much a soap opera in itself. So switching from the football club to writing a new soap opera for television might not be that difficult. It was difficult and it was challenging, but it was just a curiosity exercise as well.
Gone are the old credits and the old motel, replaced by a 4-star hotel. The music's almost the same and a handful of the original cast remain.
And what about the wobbly sets? Have they gone?
They really never much existed. I think that was grossly exaggerated. It was in the very early days when the programme was shot as live. And if something like a chair fell over, then obviously they had to shoot it if it wasn't anything too serious.
The original Crossroads ran for 24 years and had 18 million viewers in its heyday. Those behind the new soap will be hoping for a taste of that kind of success.
Oh, I remember it well. At this rate, I'll come round again as well. Actually, our director here was in Crossroads when it first began. He's 133, so he's doing very well.
But he still goes on about it, doesn't he?
Every day. And if you'd like to watch it, the new Crossroads starts on Anglia this Monday. You can see the programme at 1:30 every lunchtime or at 5:05 in the afternoon.
Monday, and what a lively start. Its first scene featured one of the staff asleep, hopefully not like the viewers. It counted us down to its grand entrance.
5,
4, 3, 2,
1. Well done.
Yes, Crossroads here with a bang, and here's the first.
You're married, aren't you?
Don't worry about it.
To keep the figures up, Crossroads knows it needs sex appeal to keep us adults watching. But there's something for the kids too.
You don't understand. I need this job.
Fine, I'll try and get you another uniform.
She's only been here for...
Have they been at it?
Would someone mind telling me exactly what's going on?
That's what we were thinking, with the wobbly set being replaced by Dynasty glossiness. In case you were lost, Jill and Kate give us a history lesson.
I don't think my mother would recognise it at all.
Famous Meg Richardson. You know, people still talk about her.
And another soap returner is the brilliant Sherry Hewson, who brings us classic Crossroads comedy in a nod to Acorn Antiques.
What particular kind of floral arrangement would you like?
You choose whatever you think Tracy would like. What would I do without you?
Hello, Morag. It's Virginia at Crossroads. I want a bouquet, love. Oh, not too sophisticated.
But it's Jill Harvey, this new soap star of old, who is left to give us the first big storyline.
She's probably drunk. I'll deal with this. Thank you very much, Mrs. Harvey. Maybe you should go back to your
I
room
haven't
now.
finished yet.
I think we've heard enough.
How dare you? I've got every right to talk to these
No, Mrs. Harvey, you can stop the act. I've checked your credit rating and you're broke.
Does your wife know about your little liaison with the bridesmaid? I mean, she must be stupid if she can't see what you're really like.
What are you talking about?
And what about all the others? Does she just turn a blind eye? Oh.
Tracy.
Oh, and Jake, you can forget about my 30%. I'll never sell to you while there's a breath left in my body.
There's life in the old soap yet. Welcome, Hotel Crossroads. We hope we enjoy your stay.
As you've just seen, this week saw Crossroads bursting onto our screens for the first time in 13 years. Never has there been such a successful return since Bruce Forsyth got to play his cards right again. Well, maybe not. Anyway, Crossroads is back, and we thought what better way to rejoice in its revival than to invite a world-renowned expert on the soap to give us his verdict. So please give a big soap fever welcome to Peter Kingsman.
World music.
Now, you're like a professor, aren't you? A professor of soaps.
Well, so I've been labelled. I don't think it's really true, to be quite honest, but still.
Now, you've been a fan right from the beginning, haven't you, really? Because it started in the 60s,
64.
Crossroads. Yeah.
Mm.
And how did that come about?
What, that I got involved?
That you
My
got
family
involved.
watched it when I was 13, I'm afraid.
Mm.
And if your family watch something, you tend to follow along at that age. So that's how I really first started in it.
But you developed a close friendship, didn't you, with
Nolly?
Noel? Yeah.
She came to open a supermarket, as the stars used to do. They get on a payroll with somebody, and she used to do the co-ops.
Yeah.
And they opened a co-op, and I was in the car one day, and she was opening this co-op at Ipswich.
Yeah.
And I went along. We
Nolly
got chatting.
Gordon, of course, being
Yeah,
Meg
Meg
Richardson.
Mortimer or Meg Richardson. And we sort of got chatting, and it went from there. I was invited up to... She was making a record in Abbey Road Studios. I never thought I'd hear any more, but I got the invitations a couple of days later. I went up to that, and there was Jack Barton, the producer, Michael Summerton, her agent, all sitting around the table, and I was then asked if I'd like a day on set, which they didn't really do much sort of in those days, about 1975, 76 it was. And then we sort of stayed friends really up to when she died.
And what were the sort of the highlights of you being this sort of the super fan of Crossroads?
Well, I don't know really. I mean, I did have a business about 5 or 6 years ago, which everybody said you've got to call Acorn Antiques.
What was it, an antique shop?
Yes.
And you called it Acorn Antiques?
Yeah, I called it Acorn Antiques.
Isn't that a contradiction in terms? Because Acorn Antiques obviously was Victoria Wood's, you know, she was taking the rip, yes.
Yes, but not nastily. Victoria Wood loves it at Crossroads, and she was really thrilled when it was coming back, and she has said that. But yes, it was fun, and I got...
Sorry, carry on.
I was going to say I got one of the ex-cast to open it, Miss Tatum, who was the postmistress, for those who remember. In 1966 she started. She's now 93, the oldest surviving member. Incredible
Did you have anything in the shop that belonged to Crossroads?
Yeah, I had the sign. I've got the original sign, which they were going to scrap. And I've got a lot of... I mean, I have an enormous amount of memorabilia, which a lot of it was Nolly's. Various other cast members have given me photographs. I mean, I've got the first photograph from the first press launch in '64.
Wow.
So all this was up on the... or a lot of it was up on the wall. So it caused... it was good for me, and it also caused a lot of interest for the public.
Now, Crossroads went away, didn't it, in 1988?
Yeah.
And I think we've got the final clip of that final show.
Jill.
Let's have a look.
I always thought Crossroads was an awfully good name.
Now, I find that extraordinary way to end a series. It's sort of like going, we're all out of a job, ha 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 ha, isn't it? It's extraordinary.
Well, she'd said the first words, which incidentally were not Crossroads Motel, can I help you? I picked her up on that because I've got the first script. It was something similar. It was a phone call and she was in the background, but it actually wasn't Crossroads Motel, can I help you?
What was it?
It was something to the effect of, about a booking, to that effect.
OK.
She did actually say that the other morning.
Now, it's back now. In its new revamped form. What do you think?
I was sceptical about it. Carlton sent me a preview episode and I sat down thinking I don't think it's going to be very good, but I was very wrong. I think it's excellent. It's very different. You've got to look at it with a totally different outlook. It's no good thinking you're going to see exactly what you saw 13 years ago.
But don't you think that part of Crossroads' charm was the fact that it was, you know, slightly wobbly sets, you know, people talking slightly too fast because they were having to do it live. And that's all gone now. It is now so slick. Where's the charm gone?
Well, I think the whole thing about a soap opera, and Crossroads in particular, is the characters. What people like and get to love are the characters. And that is where I think it lost its way the last 3-4 years, because they changed the theme tune, brought in something that nobody particularly liked, brought in characters that really never... it didn't work.
Towards the
I mean,
end.
they axed the Hunters, who were big names. They axed Sue Hanson, who played Diane, which was a silly thing to have done. But the wobbly sets, I mean, I think this has just become a thing. I would give anybody £50 if they can show me a set with wobbly sets. I mean, I watched something on television a couple of weeks ago, and somebody came down the stairs, and the banister moved, and that went straight to my mind.
It's happening all the time.
Yeah.
Now, that was the past. Let's have a little look at the future. This is what's coming up this week.
Through here. Has anyone checked her pulse? She's breathing, just.
Okay, have you called an ambulance?
No.
Well, do it. And tell them we don't know how long she's been here.
Right.
Okay, Jill. Jill, can you hear me? Jill, talk to me.
Will she be all right?
Rocky, get everyone out of here.
Yeah, come on, love. Yes. I'm not sure.
No, leave
Crossroads
it.
Hotel. Well, she's certainly unconscious. Overnight, possibly. Yes. All right, I'll make sure someone's at reception. Thanks. Doris, tell Rocky to keep an eye out for the ambulance.
I think she's taken all these.
Now, two original cast members there, Jane Rossington and Kathy Staff. Is there anyone that you wish they'd also brought back?
The person I think would have been nice and who could still come in it as a visitor, depending how the storyline goes with Jill, would have been Sue Lloyd, who played Barbara Hunter, because she was glamorous, she was friendly with Jill, and I think she could float in. But I mean, a lot of the others, you've got to remember, they killed off or whatever else.
Where'd you stand on Benny?
Well, everybody shouts.
Come on, bring him back.
Everybody shouts about Benny. I don't think he'd fit in.
Do you know what? Do you know what? I'm going to cut the interview short now. That's it. You're in trouble. But thank you very much for coming in. Well, if you haven't seen it, then you can catch Crossroads every day on ITV, and the Omnibus is on Sundays on ITV2. But for now, a big thank you to Peter Kingsman.
Thank you.
That's all for part 2. Do join us in part 3 when we'll be looking at what the budget means for the Platt family. But before that, here's the first sighting of another soap long-termer. It's street vixen Emily Nugent.